Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Sunday. It's always a Sunday. I don't know why I paused there. I just forget what day it is sometimes. I'm so rushed all the time. But it is here. It's what, 2 Sundays now before Christmas, before Christmas Eve. Aye, so before Christmas.
Yeah, it's not
And
far away.
and tonight we are chatting to the wonderful author that is Angela H. Proctor. Don't know what the H stands for. Did you figure it
Well, it's normally helipad, but
out?
I doubt that's what it stands for in this case. I
Well,
doubt.
I'm
I mean,
gonna.
it could be.
I'm gonna.
Like, I'd never rule it out 100%, but I would very much doubt it. Angela Helipad Proctor, probably not.
Janice is in the
Probably not.
chat. Hello, Janice. We've got a treat for everyone tonight. So, obviously, everyone knows Run a Cinema, and what happens is sometimes we get to collaborate with some really talented people. And Angela has a book. I mean, she's an author, so she has a few books now. And she had a story here called Arthur's Christmas Tale, which is I'm not going to tell you what it's about, because if you stay with us for this hour here, at the end, I will play it in its entirety, the short film, which is a story. And it's in aid of raising money for Shelter Scotland, which, if you go to the comments of where you're watching tonight, click on the link, you can go and donate. If you're in the cinema or any cinema that is showing it, you can donate. Bathgate Cinema, come in, there's a wee box at the desk, there's posters, there's stickers. Support the homeless, support people in need at this time of need, at Christmas time. Almost felt like I was about to write a Bob Geldof song there. So yeah, we're gonna chat to Angela when she pops in, which will be soon.
When? Let's go with.
Lee is in the chat. She says, "Hi guys, love the backdrop. Thank you. That is in aid of the short film that you guys need to stick around for at the end, and we'll play it. And it's phenomenally done. It's a short. It's like stop motion, and it was done by a company called Clubhouse. So I'm really excited to show you guys that. Nice jammies, Kevin. We have matching jammies. You're in the chat room. Let me just send you another link. Because let's get you in here properly. Check your email and I'll send you the link again. 1 second. I don't think that's ever happened before.
Oh, I bet there's a first for everything on this. This here, your podcast. Here's the first for everything.
I'm just going to go ahead and send you the link again, Angela, so you can pop in and chat to us fine folks. Where are we? Us fine folks. There you go. So I've sent the link again. So if you just click that link and you will magically appear here on screen. So yeah, if you can go ahead and donate, then please do. We're terrible actually at trying to get people to part with their cash for us in any way. It's like so many
it's
times
not for
we've
us.
had. No, what I'm saying is, no, this isn't. But previously we've had, like, Surfshark and all these different sponsors that are like, here, all you need to do is plug this, and we're like, okay. We just never plug it. It's like
gets to the end of the episode and you're like, I've Surfshark or something. Apparently you can get a discount. It's either 15% or 95%. I can't remember.
If you just email the head office, I'm sure they'll tell you what the code is that we're to use. Hello, Angela. How's it going?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Can you hear us all right? Yeah, I can hear you perfect. Do you hear us all right?
I can, yeah. Sorry, I was
Brilliant.
watching you live on my phone. And I'm like, I wonder when they will bring me into the
So usually, so when that link that I sent you, usually we meet like 10 minutes before, and then we're all together, and then it starts, and then like this, you would pop in like this. But hey, there's a first for everything. This is I mean, that's in fact, there's not many firsts that happen here. So you can take the crowning achievement of having another first on the Jibber Jabber podcast. So it's wonderful to actually meet you in person. We've been chatting a bit back and forth in email because we're playing Arthur's Christmas Tale, which has been really well received in Bathgate. How's it been received so far from all the other cinemas that it's running in?
As far as I'm aware, it's going down a storm. So cinema goers are really enjoying it, which is great. that was the plan. So we've not had too many bad reports yet. In fact, we've not had any bad reports yet. So that's good.
That's excellent. And the story as well is very much Christmas is a time that makes you kind of reflect and look at, what you could do to make someone else's end of year better. Because last couple of years has not probably been great for many people. When you get to the end of the year, you tend to reflect on the year you've had and be thankful for what you do have, and kind of just help out those that don't. And that very much, the story's very much centered in that. I really enjoyed it, and as did my kids. It was really cool to have a narrated piece by yourself as well. So what inspired you to create the story of Arthur's Christmas Tale?
About 4 years ago, well, I'm an author, so I
Mhm.
basically visit schools and I read my stories to children. And 4 years ago, I was visiting a school in Glasgow, St. Francis of Assisi.
Mm.
Read them a story, and afterwards the kids said, "Oh, look, is there any chance you could write us a story about homelessness and kindness?" Because they were doing a big Christmas project they were doing a sleep-in for Social Bite. And I
Ah.
said, "Oh, a story's it's quite a big thing to write." Um, so I said, "Look, I have a poem which reflects homelessness and kindness." So I said, "Why don't we take that poem?" I tweaked it a bit, and the kids then performed it for their Christmas play. My
Excellent.
5-minute long poem. So we wrote the script for it, etc. And that is how Arthur's Christmas Tale was born. And nothing was done with it for 4 years because we did that, and then COVID came along, and then
Mm.
COVID left. And since then there's been just quite a lot of other things going on. But this project started in January this year. It's taken us since January to December to
Well, the
to
stop
get it off the
motion.
ground.
Stop motion's a tough thing to do.
Mhm.
But it's nice to meet you, by the way. I'm Jay Mack. I'm the other half of this
Hi.
this here lovely little show. But yeah, Kevin obviously sent me the link, and I watched it, and it's really sweet. It's Kevin, he's right in what he's saying. But when it gets to this time of year, you start seeing the adverts for the Salvation Army and stuff, and you start just going, "Oh man, I should be doing more." So hopefully this will help with Shelter Scotland and get people digging their hands into their pockets a bit more. Um,
Mm.
just to go into your background as an author, you've got Thumble Tumble, which is about a wee witch for the Isle of Arran. You've got is it 3 books you've done now?
At 4, there's 4
4.
books, and I'm on book number 5.
Oh,
Mm.
you're on
I,
5.
I keep
Yeah.
saying I'm halfway through it because obviously my publisher may well be listening. So I'm definitely way past the halfway line on the 5th book.
Excellent.
I would actually suggest I'm almost finished it.
So
Yeah.
where does that character come from?
Thumble Tumble. Oh gosh, she I've always made up stories for my kids.
Mhm.
Oh, and that's a really old version of the book cover, but my wee boy loves
Mm.
that one. That's the original book cover.
I like that
Um,
one.
but and not with my current publisher. So the new cover is 100
Ah.
times better, I would have to say, than that
Yeah,
original
yeah.
cover,
Kev,
which,
find
which
it.
is really nice. Um, but no, I was on the Isle of Arran on holiday. My wee girl was 4 years of age at the time, and she was looking up in the sky, and there was lovely big stars in the sky. And she says, "Oh, mummy, what's that light in the sky?" I said, "Oh, that's the wee witch from Arran." Because I just thought I would say that to my 4-year-old.
Yeah.
And she says, "Well, what is she called?" And literally, as she says, "What's she called?" she falls down a big ditch. We're walking along the side of the shoreline. So she falls down a ditch. I pick her up and I'm like, "Watch you don't take a tumble." And Sky at 4 says, "Oh, Thumble Tumble. Tell me a story all about Thumble Tumble and a bad witch and a dragon." And so I made up a story at that moment, a bad witch and a dragon. And we used to call it Thumble Tumble and the Sea Dragon until it was
All right.
Right.
published and turned into Thumble Tumble and the Allfeist. And then the stories just
Easy to
kept
say.
coming. The kids they love stories about
Ah.
various monsters, and so various monsters are on the Isle of Arran. And a lot of it actually, there's a lot of things on the Isle of Arran that are really close to the book. And I'm thinking, have I been here before in a previous existence? Because
Mm.
we found a book in a wee bookstore, And I've got this old book. It's really, really old, and it The Witches of Arran. And hundreds of years ago, there was a coven of witches on the Isle of Arran. I never knew anything about that when I started writing about my witches of Arran. Mine are very much fairy tale, 8-year-old. There's haggis in there. There's
Ha!
obviously dragons, because we do have a Loch Ness monster. Couldn't have a story without our sort of my version of our Loch Ness monster.
Yes,
So yes, they all come from the Isle of Arran, and they're all basically stories that my kids have asked me to tell them over the
that's
years.
excellent. So you've
Yeah.
actually, so a lot of your stories then come from people kind of making requests. Would that be fair to say?
No, just those two, just my kids.
Right.
Just
Right.
my two kids. Yeah. Apart from the poem, which was my son's poem. So although I gave it to St. Francis of Assisi, um, he had to make a little. He had to make a book of seasons, and within the book of seasons, we had Jack Frost, Little Miss
Yes.
Summer, and Jack Frost, who you can see on the corner of your
Yeah.
screen. The poem was originally called Jack Frost. We changed it into Arthur's Christmas Tale to just give to sort of really, emphasize the homelessness, to take it away from Jack Frost and put it onto
Right.
the rough sleeper and his wee pug.
We were talking about this actually before, J Mac and I, that Jack Frost gets a bad rap in most films, right? He's always a bad guy.
He's okay in this one,
Got a bit of bad attitude to begin with.
always, yeah. He's like, and he gets quite he wasn't just as miserable, I would suggest, when we first did when I first wrote this poem. It was like, Mr. Jack Frost, where have you been? And he was like, I've been to the park, but nobody's seen. And he wasn't really scary, but now he's like, I've been to the park, nobody's seen. And he's very nasty now. It's like,
See. Well, I suppose to us, I mean, nobody likes the cold, eh? You never see anybody going like, "Oh, this is great. I love being freezing." So
I do.
Right.
I really do. I enjoy the cold because I'm a portly gentleman, so I'm always hot. So it's nice when you step outside and you you actually get to feel normal for a wee while. And if it wasn't for Jack Frost, there'd be no Winter Olympics. So we've got to thank him for some stuff.
Yes.
That and frostbite. Was it through Shelter Scotland then that you decided that you were going to turn this into a stop motion together, or was this something you had initially planned?
No, yeah, this is just Arthur's Christmas Tale was just turning that poem, just taking it to the next step, really turning it into an animation. Actually, what had happened is I wanted to investigate turning my books into, I thought, well, I've got 4 books now. I'm on book 5. It'd be really good if I could take them together. And I spoke to a friend of mine. He owns Axis Animation. I don't know if you've heard of Axis, but they are huge. They're a big, huge Glasgow animation company, but they work on things like the Avatar, Star Wars. So they're not very small in the world of animation. And Ash Richard, did I go about turning my books, into a movie? And he was like, yeah, well, that's a really big step. You need to start tiny. Which I thought, well, I've already got this poem, which has already, if you like, been scripted. And so I thought, let's turn the poem into an animation. And then when I was turning it into the animation, it seemed like such a waste not to do something with it. So when I decided to turn it into an animation, I sort of reached out to a lot of homeless charities, actually, just to say, look, would any of you like to get involved, collaborate to take this forward? And Shelter Scotland were the one that I decided, they convinced me that they were the charity that needed this the most, that needed. But that was in May. And so it just took. So I started meeting with the animator away back in January. We kicked things off in March. We did all in it at Christmas, but it was filmed in June. And it was filmed in Strathclyde University Library in June with all the kids wearing their Christmas jumpers and Christmas hats. They loved it. They were like,
Yeah.
"Yay, here we are."
Yeah, no, they would. Ah.
So you all excited for Christmas? Like, aye, it's 6 months
So
away.
yeah. Listen, they get excited in January. Yeah. Visit schools right after Christmas, and I'm like, so what? What are you looking forward to now? Christmas. Next Christmas, you're like, okay.
Matthew says, we're about, can a fella check this out? Well, we are going to play it at the end of the show, but you can check this out, and our broths will be as of next week. But Alloa and Bathgate Cinema are showing it right now. Where other cinemas are showing it, Angela?
So there's, oh gosh, it's showing in like 22 independent cinemas now.
Nice.
Brilliant.
Glasgow and Wales, Aberfoyle, no, Aberfeldy, excuse me, burps will kill me.
Aberfeldy, yeah.
It's yes, it's in Helensburgh. I mean, it is literally everywhere. The length and breadth of Scotland, we've managed. Annan,
good.
Dumfries. I'm trying, but there's so many cinemas in so many places. Fort William, Inverness,
Nice.
Perth. It's a lot of cinemas, yeah. So, but all independent cinemas.
So did you approach any of the big boys, or were they just?
Independent Scottish cinemas.
Uh,
Did we or did we not? Yeah, we kind of tried to a sort of semi-larger, not like your huge, but we did try to approach some of the slightly bigger ones, but they were very much you can pay to put the advert in if you
Aye,
wish, and we
of
were like,
course,
well,
of course.
that really did purpose of paying you a load of money to try and raise money for Shelter Scotland. We'd be as well just giving them the money, if you know what I mean.
I always think that about charity game shows. You know, when you watch like Celebrity of the Chase and they compete to try and win 50 grand, it's like probably cost you 90 grand to bloody film the thing. Just give them the money.
Yeah.
I know, it's ridiculous. There's a lot of that, which is unfortunate. So Christmas for us, obviously. I think when you start off as a kid, Christmas is all about presents and getting the latest, right? But then there comes a point, I think, and it's maybe after you become a teenager, from that starting point where you realize where the presents become a little less more important to you. And to me now, like when I get to Christmas period, I'm looking forward to seeing family and to kind of being thankful for the family I have. Do you think that there's a bigger pull for people to be more generous at Christmas than they usually are all year round?
Me, I think people do feel a bit more festive at Christmas. Certainly on the Christmas nights out, they feel a bit more jolly. But I think in general, yeah, it brings people together. It makes them sort of maybe look at what they've got and what other people don't have. The animation was actually trying to do that as well. It was to try and turn homelessness on its head almost, because in this animation it is most definitely the wee homeless pug who he's the one who's generous. He gives away everything he owns, because that is all he owns is that bone, but he's like, he gives away everything because he feels sorry for Jack Frost because he thinks he's lonely at Christmas. So I guess Christmas isn't, it's about a lot of things to a lot of people. So some people don't have anyone like my Jack Frost. So yeah.
Aye. It was really nice. I did wonder at one point, I thought, is the wee homeless guy dead? Because at no point does he sit up. But that can be Arthur's Christmas Tale Part 2. I mean, it is freezing.
You're a dark person, Kevin.
I'm like, where did Arthur get that bone, by the way? Is that his ankle? Because I'm like, at some point this guy's going to like sit up, but at no point does he move. I thought, he's frozen solid.
Originally he was going to sit up at the very end and say Merry Christmas. But I don't know if we just ran out of budget or time in the actual animation, and it was just By the end of it was just like, you'll just close the book and that'll be the end of it. And I'm like, all right, see, can I not sit up anymore? No, that's another 3 weeks of, animating time that we just
Yeah.
don't have. So,
No, I get that
if we
totally.
want it for this Christmas, then he just lies there.
So when did you actually? When was the animation actually finished? Like you started in January. When did it actually get finished? And then you start the process of trying to put it out there.
Well, the physical animation started in March. I met with the
Oh,
animator in January, so but that started in March, and it didn't finish. The animation wasn't finished until October.
right.
It was the very end of October as well, that it was completely finished because it needed the sound and the lighting. It needed a few post-production things, so it took a long time.
Yeah.
It's a small animation company that we're working on at Clubhouse Animations.
Mhm.
Brilliant animator, by the way. Shout out for
Yeah,
Clubhouse
I
and
can see
Eleanor
that.
Stewart and
Yeah.
her team. Um,
Mhm.
so absolutely amazing animation, but yeah, it's very time consuming.
Oh
It's
yeah.
a slow process. It's a slow
Mhm.
process.
It can take a
We
long time
even
just to.
watching him being made. We got to see all the puppets being made, so the maquettes onto the
Mhm.
puppets. It was just fascinating, and then all the set has to be made, and they have to
Mhm.
Yeah.
film it in a way that was really interesting as well, because the end of our movie was filmed at the beginning,
Yeah.
just because of the way the lighting works. So
Uh,
at the beginning, he's walking through trees, right? But at the end, the end he's not. But what actually had to happen is that all the filming without the trees had to be filmed. So they then add all the trees to the set
mm,
and film the beginning of the movie,
yeah,
which was,
that's mental.
I mean, it is just fascinating. So yeah, it was really interesting watching it being made and watching the puppets being made, and just
Do you,
mind
do you
blowing
still
actually.
have the wee guys? Like, do you have them,
I've
the wee
got all of
figures?
the puppets.
Oh, excellent. Yeah.
They're behind me. The maquettes are beside me. If I
Oh,
start to move
brilliant.
my computer, you might lose me. I tried to get them in the background. Well, let me see.
Uh,
If I do that, you won't be able to see them.
is he Santa Claus?
Like a wee Santa Claus in the background.
I can
Well,
see the
actually,
Santa. Yeah.
beside him, Jack Frost is in a glass cage, and the light is reflecting
Ah,
the glass cage.
so
Right.
But
yes.
It's
Where's the
I
teeth
thought I'll
guy?
really.
put them in the shot. I'll put them up. I'll bring them up before then to show you.
No,
But yeah,
It's
they're
excellent.
actually a
there.
lot smaller than I imagined they would be. I thought it would maybe be like a 12-inch tall thing. But
I think
I
so.
mean, I know he's far away. Actually, is this one of these Dougal, these cows are far away situations? Is
No,
is he bigger than he
he is
looks?
he's a lot smaller than I thought. He's what,
Mm,
maybe 20 centimeters tall.
Wow.
mm.
So yeah,
That's the type of
he's
thing I
quite.
could see on like tote bags and stuff like that. Have you ever thought about maybe like licensing it to help raise like money all year round, and kind of create a wee universe there within? Because there's a style to that. There's very much a style to it where if you created other characters within that universe, you would recognize that they're from what you've done.
Yeah, we've. This is it. It's only just taken off just now.
Hmm.
Um, I'd like to do other things, but Jack Frost at the moment, me and the animation company are having some thoughts about
Mm.
Jack's future.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Right.
So,
That sounds cryptic. Like, I'm not telling you
so,
anything
so,
else.
so no, but we're just trying to figure out, how Jack, what Jack might do next. So
Well,
Right.
what path is he taking? Is he going to stay being quite dodgy, or has he changed his ways?
I think he'll always need to start off a bit mean, and then
Ah.
something will change his opinion. So I think Jack always needs a moral. I think he
Mm.
needs to, something needs to change, sort of melt his heart yet again, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
perhaps another charity next year for Jack. We don't know. We don't know.
So I like that. So the story would essentially follow Jack and not Arthur, the wee dog.
Arthur as well. That's his own wee thing that we're thinking
All
about.
right. I could see Arthur. Arthur belongs in like a campaign for Lidl or something like that. You know
Yeah.
how Kevin the Carrot.
Everyone
Arthur would be
always
great
says
for
they should, why didn't you just turn him into a toy? And I'm like, have you
Uh,
ever priced turning something into a toy?
yeah.
It's like, oh, you should have made them a toy. You would have sold hundreds. And I'm like, yeah, the fact is you need to buy 10,000 of them. And,
Uh,
to make it actually cost effective. I mean,
yeah.
it's mind blowing what you actually need to do. I mean, you'd make an
Mm,
amazing toy. If only I could buy 10,000 of them at first, and then sell them.
yeah.
And
Ah.
with a profit so that there is actually some money to go to charity. No, but I'm definitely
Mm.
we're looking at some things for both the characters going
I
forward.
I have a wee suggestion for Jack's story. It could be a prequel to Arthur's Christmas Tale, and it could be a prequel to Arthur's Christmas Tale, but a sequel to Titanic. It's called Titanic 2, Jack's Back, and that would explain why he's Jack Frost.
Well, well,
Makes
I
sense,
would I
right?
would love to say I think you're onto something there, Kev, but
You'll get the backing from Disney. Oh no, is it Disney?
Uh,
Disney own it now, right? Because it was Fox,
yeah, it
wasn't
was
it?
Fox. Yeah.
So Disney own that now. So there we go. You got a comment here from Claire Leishman saying, "Sending love from Paris, Angela. Amazing, well done."
oh,
So,
thank you.
hey. Do you know this person personally,
I
or
know
is she
Claire,
big
yes,
fan?
and
Oh, good.
she is, and her husband's in Paris working. So I'm imagining she's in Paris just now.
Oh, better weather than what we've got right now. Janice says, "Well, Kev, that went sideways." Well, the ship, pretty much.
God.
So I really enjoyed it. And my kids enjoyed it. There's something magical about what you've captured. We've done a bit of stop motion before on several projects we've done, and we not understand that it can take several months. So we're really blown away with how much was done, and especially when you're saying it took a long time. That was pretty much. Well, I'd say that was a good time period. You've managed to do so much in such a short space of time. It took us well over a year to do. I would say less than what we've seen there, right?
Yeah.
Mm, yeah.
Would it be about the same?
But
Aye.
we had basically one
But
guy working on it. So
Aye, I know, and phenomenally as well.
yeah.
I, I was gonna say, I think it's probably because yeah, they were working on it kind of
Uh,
as as uh as their project. So
full team,
yeah,
yeah. I know.
animation studios tend to be able to do it slightly faster than maybe non-animation studios, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Aye. No,
What are you
absolutely.
saying, Angela? Yes, yes, that.
No, that's definitely us.
Oh, aye, I mean, most definitely. I mean, the guy in our team, Scott, who does the stop motion, award-winning stop motion guy, because
Oh,
we done a music video where he animated an octopus destroying a boat, and then we went on to do
awesome.
another music video. Yeah, and the other one we done was for a DJ in Edinburgh. We got one of the Lost Boys and as well, and he got kind of animated, but Nosferatu was stop motion. It took such a long time, and it was mainly because of the workload on top of just one person. So I suppose, I mean, it's never going to be. Stop motion is never something that you can do overnight, but it's nice to see that and practical stuff being done practically again. Do you think that everything moving forward would be stop motion for the next stories, or would you be quite happy for an animated thing?
Um, Definitely for any future poems,
Hmm.
because that's what I'm looking at just now.
Yeah.
Stop motion would be the way forward. It's I don't know. This will sound weird, but it's almost like you can almost touch stop motion
Hmm.
because it is,
Yeah.
is a 3D object moving on the
Hmm.
screen rather than like a 2D animation.
Hmm.
So they feel more alive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The characters, they actually feel more alive, but it is
Yeah.
painstaking. It's hard work, stop motion. I'm not saying that 2D isn't, or digital, or any of
Mm.
the rest of the animation. I just mean, so for me, I also I love things like, The Nightmare Before Christmas, and
Wallace and
just
Gromit.
Wallace and Gromit. But so it's these kind of animation I was thinking about. I thought, oh, that would look awesome.
Hmm.
Jack
Mhm.
coming to life as in my head, one of Tim Burton's characters. I'm like,
Hmm.
yes, I can
Yeah.
see this working.
Yeah.
Get it sold to Big Tim. But that's an interesting point. Just talking about the stop motion animation. The fact is, although it is animated, it's still a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Every other form of animation is just things drawn on a piece of paper. But
Mm-hmm.
this, you're essentially turning something that is real into a living object, instead of just an ornament. And it's so cool because
Yeah.
it's just
Did
bringing ornaments to life.
Did you have someone storyboard it with you so that you kind of helped design how these characters looked, or did you just get together straight up with the animation team and work together collaboratively on that?
Um, we had a good idea what they would look like because see for Jack Frost, the poetry book,
Mm-hmm.
I'd already seen images of what I thought Jack Frost looked like. So this is
Mm-hmm.
way as yonks and yonks ago when I was creating
Yeah.
the little book of seasons for my son. Um, so when Eleanor and I got together, she was like, she gave me different images, but I sent her the image, and it was really funny because she sent me the image that I was literally sending her. So we'd
Wow.
seen the same image of Jack.
Yeah.
Um, the wee dog, it always had to be a pug. It was always a pug.
Yeah.
So
Why a pug?
again, I've no idea. This is what my children wanted. We got a wee dog ourselves for the first time a couple of months ago, and we've got a miniature dachshund. So no idea where the pug came from, but we always had it in our heads. We've got another. Me and my son have been creating a story for years, which I can't publish until I'm finished publishing all my Thumble Tumble books.
Uh-huh.
But it features a pug
Yeah.
called Arthur, and it's just it's a quirky, clever kids book. So I guess he's just been in the background, you know. So
Yeah.
he was in Jack Frost. He's in this other book. So yeah. And
That's
so
good.
I
Eleanor
think
did draw him as something else, and I was like, no, he's got to be a pug. He's got to be a pug.
I think there's something inherently human about a pug's face. I don't know
Well, it
what it
does
is, but
kind of
when
look a
you
wee bit
look,
like same
when
eyes as you.
yeah, when you look at one straight on from the front, it's just like a wee person going. And it's
There's a pug. You look like a pug. Do that again.
that's brilliant.
Do that again. There we go. Look. We have another comment here from Alistair Gillies. MBE says, "Congratulations, Angela. Really looking forward to seeing the finished animation and wish it every success for such a worthy cause." And then he goes on to say, "My Angela says, well done." Stick around at the end of this episode and we will play it in its entirety for everybody to see. It's something I'm glad I saw it first on the big screen. And I watched it. We went in to watch Muppet Christmas Carol, myself and my kids. So it was very much in the same vein. So when we got to see it, I made a point of watching my kids, and they sat there and watching it. They was like, "Oh, the wee dog!" And I think my daughter did ask me if the guy on the floor was dead, and that's purely because there's no movement on him.
His hair moves, and his
Aye,
eyebrows
but
in the wind.
they would move on a dead person, though, right?
I know, but still.
You just turned it into a really dark story.
Everyone watching
No,
tonight
note to
watches
self:
it.
have him blink.
I know, or breathe. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. But
Oh.
we'd be pretty cold in that snow, though, wouldn't it? I mean, how long would you survive if you were sleeping on the street
He's
like
got
that?
a
As
piece of
it's snowing?
cardboard under him.
There we go. That gives them a 50% more
See,
chance.
that's kind of the point, though. I mean, we get the privilege of sleeping under a roof every night. Not everybody's got the same standard of house or flat, but most of us have got somewhere where we can lay our heads in comfort. And a lot of people, it seems more and more people, you would think the longer we're a civilized society, the less this would happen. But it just seems to be getting worse and worse. And
Yeah,
it's
totally.
just it's really heartbreaking, and it's nobody should have to live like that. It's unpleasant.
I'm
So
very glad.
it's
Yeah,
it's good. It's good that you're kind of trying to do something about it in your own way. It's nice.
The link is in the comment section. I put it there rather than in the description because if you're watching this episode, wherever you're watching it, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, you can go ahead and click the link in the comment section. So if you can see it's there, it'll be by the official account. Click on that and you can go ahead and you can you can donate from there. Shelter Scotland, obviously, they're doing a great job, especially this Christmas, with helping out where it comes to homeless people. Do you think you're going to do more with Shelter Scotland again in the future?
Um, I don't know about if I'll do more with Shelter Scotland, certainly with other charities. So normally or previously I've worked with the Beatson.
Right.
So the Beatson, because my mum died of cancer 9 years ago, and that's why I started writing actually. So I always told stories, but I didn't write books.
Right.
In my day job, I'm a chartered financial planner and the director of a company that manages many, many, many millions of pounds for clients. So
Well
it's
done.
quite interesting when they find out in my spare time I write about witches and dragons and three-legged haggis. You know, it's quite. Are you sure you know what you're doing, Angela? Oh, don't worry, the haggis will take the money. So yeah. Um, but
we
when my
we
mum
were
passed
wondering.
away,
Huh?
I know. But so
Uh,
when my mum passed away, it was just really it was a distraction. I needed a
mm,
distraction. It was a really sad time for me. So I was just not able to. A really busy person. I've got kids. I've got full time work
mhm,
full time. So I just found that when I wasn't working or running after the kids or any second, I just felt really down. So my husband came up with a genius idea. He's like, why don't you write those stories down that you tell the kids for prosperity? And then about two
mm,
years later, he admitted he's like, oh, it was just to get you to do something because I was, you were kind of feeling you seemed to not be coping too great at the
mm.
Mm.
time. So it was a distraction. And my first book got published. So of course I was like, "Yeah, this is awesome!" Without realizing, Angela, you do actually have a full-time job that pays your mortgage,
Mhm.
and so I was thrown into the world of becoming an author as well as a mum, and I decided what I would try and do is use the books to help raise funds for the Beats in the last few months. So that's what got me started. That was the link to charity. This
Mm,
animation doesn't lend itself at all to the Beatson,
mhm,
and it was something new and different. But I'll definitely, try to help. I'll try to keep doing using my books or poems or animations where I can to try and help charity because just try and give a wee bit back.
No, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
I mean, getting your first book published, that's not an easy thing to do normally. I mean, a lot of people need to write 4 or 5 before anybody's interested. So you've done quite something special there to get
Um,
your first one published.
I was shocked, to be honest, because I really didn't expect it to get published. I just sent it
Yeah.
off. I did the thing, that to help with grief and the processing of right. That done it. I wasn't expecting it to be published, to be honest with you. So
Mm,
that was a bit of a shock, but a pleasant shock, but a shock. So yeah, and
no,
it's really I meet loads of authors and I speak to lots of aspiring authors, and it's such a hard gig for a lot of them. It's such a
mm,
I get asked a lot of is should I just give up my job and become a full-time author? And I'm like, absolutely not. And I don't mean that to be horrible.
yeah.
I just mean you do still have bills to pay. It's
Mhm,
it's such a hard gig that I just feel that you need the security blanket of your day job, and as hard
mhm.
as it's going to therefore be for you, that's what you need. It's a
Mhm.
lovely dream. Just give up my job and become a full-time author. But then see the wee guy here on the corner, you're going to be beside him, and and
I
and the,
know.
and the pug belongs to James. Do you know what I mean? It's like so. Yeah, it's just finding a
Uh,
balance.
yeah. Do you see the Humble Tumble series becoming an audiobook at all in the future?
Um, again, people have asked. I suppose it's really down to the publisher to
Mhm,
decide if there's enough demand. A lot of things really come down to your publisher for that.
mhm.
Just now, I don't think there has been enough demand. Um,
Hmm.
the books, they were primarily promoted in schools. They're
Yeah.
for P 4 to 6, so primary 4 through to primary 6,
Mm.
and um, it's the first book particularly is a really good. It's like the way the chapters begin and end. It's a
Mhm.
very good book to get kids into because each chapter ends. Um, and that I didn't realise that's actually quite a skill. Apparently,
Mm.
none of my other books do this. Only the first one. Um, but it's good for children who are struggling. So if you're a bit of a challenge reader, then it's quite good that each chapter almost has a beginning, middle, and end to it,
Ah.
so that you can work your way through the book. You're not needing to wait until you've read the whole
Mm.
book. To, you
Mm.
get enjoyment each as you sort of work your way through it. So I think from that point of view, and I just love the feel of a book. You know,
Yeah. I
I'm
get
Aye.
that
that
person
totally.
that likes the smell
Yeah.
and the feel and the turning of the pages,
Yeah.
and it's quite old fashioned, but I
No,
think I
we
like
are
that.
we are big supporters of physical media on this book and on this this
This book.
podcast, and books are part of that. You know, you've got DVDs,
Mhm.
videos, and you've got books. And
Mhm.
I've never. I went from reading books to listening to audiobooks because I tried a Kindle once and it just freaked me out. I was like, this is weird. It's weird. And they've tried to simulate the pages turning up. Like, it's just not the same. I have to lick my finger. You know what I mean?
Ah.
Yeah. And it's yeah, they should never get rid of books. This is actually something I was going to mention as well. The Going back to the homelessness thing, and there's this constant push at the minute. It seems to move away from cash and become a cashless society. How do you help the homeless in passing without cash? It's another hurdle that's getting
Mm.
thrown in the way of helping homeless people.
I think it's a hurdle that is thrown in the way of all charities,
Mhm.
Mhm.
possibly. We thought about that. So for this animation, at the end, there's not enough time to, we've got the QR code on there and the Just
Mhm.
Giving page, and you can do a check and you can do the tin. But that's why we asked the cinemas, look, people are never going to have enough time to get their phone out and they shouldn't really have it out in a cinema anyway. I mean, it just so many, yeah. Uh, so that's why we said to the cinemas, look, is there any way you can just put the tin in your foyer? It's got a QR code on it. So those people who don't have cash, they've only got a phone, they can just, zap the QR code and maybe donate a fiver if they can. Or posters have got the QR code on it. And if you've got some cash, then drop it in the tin. But it is, yeah, that was a challenge for us. So, and the QR codes just had taped onto the tins because
Right.
the
Yeah.
tins weren't generated with codes on them. They were
Mhm.
generated to put money in. They were
Yeah.
created, they were designed for money dropping in them. So Shelter actually taped QR codes onto the tins so that they can, we don't miss out on any donations, that everyone gets a chance to
Mm.
donate. So yeah, but I know what you mean. Although I do think eventually everyone's going to have a thing on their phone where I was talking about this the other day. There's a movie, I can't remember what it's called, but their life drains away, when
It's called In
they have,
Time. Justin
that's
Timberlake.
it. It is, yes.
That was
I
quick,
watched it.
Kevin. That was quick.
And they bleep their life, and I thought,
Yeah.
soon you're all going to have a bleeper on your phone, and when you walk
Mhm.
past, even a homeless person, their phone will be able to collect money off of you. You just be able to go bloop.
Mhm.
Here you go.
I call
Here's
the
a
social
tenner.
credit system. I think China have got that going already. It's like if you
Yeah.
misbehave, they take your money off you. Facial recognition, AI, the lot. We're heading to dystopia. Scottish Geek Guy says, hi all. He also
Hello.
says, yep, long live physical media, DVDs, Blu-ray, 4K discs, CDs, vinyls, books, comics. You missed out Laserdisc. And Ross Fraser says, I'm unsure if the policy has changed, but you're also unable to open a bank account without a residing home address. So it's getting a lot tougher. It's one of those things we have to kind of revolt now. I think everything comes back around though eventually, if I'm not mistaken, right? J Mac sitting with a laser disc behind him. I've got everything. Yeah, I mean, I think eventually it does come back around. And we fight as
My
a
laptop's sitting on top of a record player.
yes, yeah, Yeah.
It's actually sitting on top of an actual record player
We find
in a
ways.
case
I've got an
to lift it up
old-fashioned
high enough.
advent. I've got an
What?
old-fashioned advent calendar with no chocolates
you
in
do.
it. You just
Oh,
open the doors and it's just a wee picture behind there, a wee fireplace or something. It takes me back to my childhood when we were skint.
God, what you like, Jay Mack?
Ah, what
he's
am I like?
old before his time. He's proper. See that
Oh,
Jack Frost, the beard and
my
everything. That's him. What is it? J Mac says
J
Jack
J
Frost's
Mac
even
J Mac
wearing
Frost.
J Mac Frost. Even Jack Frost is wearing a scarf because it's a bit chilly for him. Which is excellent, eh? It's been excellent having you on, Angela. What's coming next for you? Is there anything you'd like to tell everybody, or is there stuff you can tell us without getting in trouble in case your publisher's watching?
No, I think I can tell you that we are looking for book 5 to come out next year.
Oh, excellent.
Um, yeah, so book 5 will be published next year. There's 6 books
Yeah.
series, so I'm hoping to get to the end of the book series soon.
Mm.
But definitely book 5 will be out next year. I don't know if book 6 will make it out next. Watch this space for Arthur's Christmas Tale doing a few other things.
Oh,
He,
TV?
he may do things more than just the. Did you say TV? I never said that.
Yeah. Yeah, you never
I
said
did
that.
not say
It would be
TV.
class. It'd be class if it had like some sort of run on the iPlayer or
Did you say
TV.
that?
Yeah, I did. Only because I've had something go to TV and I know how easier it is to get it to the iPlayer than it is to get it on actual TV. So I thought I'd start there. I'm pretty good at figuring this stuff out, but if I'm wrong,
So,
hey, if I'm wrong, but yeah,
so we'll be pushing to get Arthur's Christmas Tale a bit more pro because you know what, like the people who worked on Arthur's Christmas Tale, they were all small, independent arts. You know, you've got Clubhouse Animation, you've got Strangeworks Production, did the production on the animation. We had a girl called Fiona McNeil, who's amazing, who was doing the sound. Lizzie Powell did the lighting. And the thing is, they're all just small Scottish artists. And if we
yeah,
don't use these small companies to, to bring things to life, then we'll soon not have them. So it just
they'll end
seemed
up
to
like
me
that wee
like,
guy.
yeah, pretty much. Let's get a lot of small artists together and we'll see if we can get a platform. So really for me, I'm going to try and push the anime so that it pushes on for the guys after the shelter campaign ends,
Yeah,
and really looking to obviously use it to get the books maybe into some kind of book series as
yeah,
well. But I
that'd
need
be
to get the
excellent.
books finished to get them into a book series. So yes. And many children write to me a lot saying, when are you finishing this book series? You
Oh
know,
wow.
I started the books when I was 8, I'm now 16. I'm like, I am really sorry. I am writing book 5. It's like,
Hey, there's a film like that. It's called Misery, where there's a book fan, and she gets a hold of an author that doesn't quite work out
I'm
the
kind
way
of
that she
hoping
likes.
that the 8 and 9-year-olds that I deal with will not do that to me.
Well, they're 16 now, so anything can happen.
Yeah, true. This is very true. Oh, no.
Absolutely.
The
But that
sledgehammer.
is
What
definitely
happens to Arthur? Yeah.
Sorry, we always lower the tone. But yeah, it's been excellent. I can't wait for everybody right now who's stuck with us to see Arthur's Christmas Tale. We're going to run it right up to Christmas, and hopefully we can raise some good money in Bathgate Cinema, Arbroath, and Alloa. But the sky, there is no ceiling. The sky is the limit for this, and I hope it does more than it's. I mean, it's doing great right now, but I hope that it really lives on past this, and we get to see more. I'm going to check out Tumble when I get a chance. I did look for the audiobook because I'm so busy all the time that I never get a chance to sit and read, which is why I chuck the headphones in and I go on the go, switch on autopilot. But I'll figure it out. I'll just get my wife to record it and then I'll play it as an MP3.
Where can we buy the actual books? Are they on Amazon or are they
Amazon,
in
yeah.
bookshops? And
they're in independent bookshops. They're on Amazon. All your kind of usual suspects: Waterstones, Amazon, but a lot of kind of independent bookstores as well. If you ever go to Arran, it's in every bookstore on Arran, which is great.
do you know, I've been wanting to go to Arran for years, and I've yet to make it over there. I mean, it's literally. I mean, I could get there in 2 hours, but I've still not made it over.
Go
And
to Arran. You'd love it.
I will.
I just came home from Arran today to do this. I was coming home anyway,
Wow.
but yes, out in Arran for the weekend, and I was coming home anyway. Yeah. But it was lovely. It was peeing
Yeah.
with rain, but it was just
Ah.
it's like going on holiday. It is only 2 hours
Mm.
away, but I got on
Yeah.
the ferry on the way back, and I was like, oh God, back home. Oh. I was, oh,
No.
But I've got a podcast to look forward to.
my holiday's
Absolutely.
over. Yes.
Aye, we'll need to do a trip out to Arran, do some ghost hunting or something. Eh?
Yeah, there's a lot of
Ah.
haunted
There is
places there.
ghosts
So.
on Arran.
Ah, well,
Yeah.
if there was witches, there must be ghosts, eh?
Broadgate Castle is haunted, apparently.
Well, we'll fun out. Nobody leaves here till we find the ghost, eh? In the words of Great Bigby. So I'm going to go ahead and yes, here it is. So I'm going to go ahead and play this here just before the credits roll for everybody that's tuned in tonight. Again, thanks very much, Angela, for stopping in. You're always welcome on this podcast. When book number 5 comes out, we'll have you on to promote it and get all those 8 now 16-year-olds in the chat to kind of smooth them over so we don't end up another misery crisis. But it's been absolutely amazing. So thank you very much. And
Thank you.
again,
Thank you.
everybody, no, our pleasure. In the comments, make sure you go and you donate to Shelter Scotland and follow AH Proctor everywhere. Instagram, X, Facebook, website, tumble.com, isn't it? .com, eh?
.co.uk.com, whatever.
.co.uk.
You'll find us.
All
One
ends
of
up
them,
the same
one of
place,
them
yeah.
works.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm looking forward to it. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Arthur's Christmas Tale. How did I do this?
Hi, everybody. I'm Angela, and I'm here to read you a story. Are you all excited because it's nearly Christmas? Yes! Do you want me to read you a Christmas story? Yes! Well, then you're in luck, because I'm going to read you a story all about a little dog on Christmas Eve called Arthur's Christmas Tale. The night before Christmas, out in the park, a stranger was lurking, alone in the dark, miserable and cold, and so very old. This man hated Christmas, or so we were told. But then he met Arthur, James lying by his side, a brave little dog, guarding his master with pride. And the man thought to himself, what a peculiar sight, especially at Christmas, on this freezing cold night. And then things got stranger as the dog jumped to his feet and he spoke to the man in a voice that was sweet. Mr. Jack Frost, where have you been? I've been to the park, but nobody's seen. I went there at night and turned it bright white. It looks very nice, all covered in ice. But you better beware if you go over there, or you'll slip and you'll slide as I watch while I hide. So take hold of a hand to make sure you don't land with a thump and a bump on my twinkling sand. Big girls and big boys, shh. Don't make a noise. Just stand, look and listen, and Jack Frost will glisten. I'll fill you with fear. I'll steal Christmas cheer. But what's this I hear in the corner of my ear? Singing and laughter? That's not what I'm after. And now they are skating, each one with a partner. And so I'll go home to my house made of stick. This singing and dancing, it makes me feel sick. I'll stay there all summer in my cold little shack. But watch out, next Christmas, Jack Frost will be back. The dog's eyes turned red, and he bowed his head low. The man grinned and said, "There's no ho, ho, ho." Pleased with himself, that he'd made the dog sad. He skipped down the path, feeling quite glad. But this strange little dog was not giving in, and he called to the man in a howling din, "I have no home, but you're all alone. So please, have this gift. It's my shiny white bone." The man's chest exploded as though shot by a dart, as this small act of kindness melted his heart. And he turned to the dog with a tear in his eye, and he uttered the words, "Please, tell me why." The little dog smiled and held out his paw and started to speak in a voice that was raw. "I may be homeless with little to eat, but I have my James here by my feet. Hunger and coldness we'll tackle together because we've got each other forever and ever. But you, my dear friend, have no one to turn to, no one to hug when you cry or you feel blue. Christmas, it's not about presents and greed. It's about giving someone something they need. It may be a blanket, some cake, or a bone, or just about making them feel not alone. And the moral of our Christmas tale is plain for all to view. The magic of Christmas spirit is thinking of someone other than you. Merry Christmas, everybody.
If you want to make someone's Christmas a little merrier, then please donate what you can to Shelter Scotland. You can donate by cheque. You can use this QR code to donate, or visit our Just Giving page. Or just do it the old-fashioned way and pop some cash into a bucket.